A quiet cafe. A young woman crying softly in the corner. Two men towering over her, gripping her arm, dragging her out while everyone else just stared in silence. Nobody dared to interfere, until one voice thundered across the cafe, "Touch my wife again, and you'll regret it." What happened next would not only shock the entire cafe but change the lives of everyone who witnessed it forever. Stay with me until the end, because this story will move your soul. It was a chilly afternoon in the city, where people came to the local cafe to escape the noise of the outside world. Among the crowd sat Elena, a quiet, gentle woman in her 20s, scribbling in her worn-out notebook. She was an aspiring writer, her stories filled with hope, though her life often felt anything but hopeful. Across the room, two men in rough jackets watched her. They had followed her before, mocking her for being weird and poor. Today, they decided to humiliate her publicly. Without warning, one of them grabbed her arm, yanking her from her chair. The cafe froze in stunned silence as the other sneered, "Come on, let's take her outside." Elena struggled, whispering, "Please, let me go." But no one moved. Customers averted their eyes, pretending not to see. The barista lowered her gaze, hands trembling. To everyone, Elena was just another girl, someone whose suffering wasn't theirs to solve. That's when the cafe door swung open. A tall man stepped inside, carrying a tray of hot chocolate for his young daughter, who trailed behind him. His name was Daniel, a single father raising his 7-year-old girl, Maya, alone. Life had not been easy for him since his wife passed away years earlier, but he was determined to teach Maya courage, kindness, and strength. As Daniel entered, his eyes locked on the scene, Elena being dragged toward the door, tears streaming down her face. His heart pounded. He knew that look of helplessness all too well. He had seen it in Maya's eyes when she'd been bullied at school. Something inside him snapped. Slamming the tray onto the nearest table, Daniel's voice boomed across the cafe. "Touch my wife again, and you'll regret it." The entire cafe went dead silent. The two men froze, glancing at each other in shock. Elena looked up, eyes wide, unable to comprehend what he had just said. "Wife." Daniel strode across the room with a presence so commanding the bullies instinctively let go. His fists were clenched, his jaw tight. He placed himself between Elena and the men, towering over them with a protective fire in his eyes. The cafe watched in awe. For the first time, someone had stood up. The bullies hesitated. "She's your wife?" "Doesn't look like it," one sneered, trying to mask his fear. Daniel didn't flinch. "Doesn't matter what she looks like. You lay one finger on her, you're dealing with me." His voice was steady, but his hands shook with the memory of failing to protect people he loved in the past. He wasn't going to fail today. Maya tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, please don't fight," she whispered. That softened his rage but didn't weaken his resolve. The two men, sensing the weight of the entire cafe's eyes on them, and realizing Daniel was no ordinary man, backed down. Muttering curses, they stormed out, leaving Elena trembling and speechless. The cafe erupted into whispers. Some clapped quietly, others nodded in respect. Daniel turned to Elena, his tone soft now. "Are you okay?" She nodded, tears falling. Why did you call me your wife?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Because sometimes, when no one else steps up, you have to make the world believe you're family. It's the only way they'll stop." For Elena, those words pierced deeper than anything she had ever heard. In her lonely life, no one had ever claimed her, stood beside her, or fought for her. She had always been invisible, until today. Over the next weeks, Daniel and Maya began inviting Elena into their lives. She would join them for hot chocolate after school, read Maya her stories, and for the first time in years, she felt like she belonged. Daniel wasn't rich, nor was his life easy, but he had something Elena had longed for, a family built on love, respect, and courage. By the time graduation season rolled around for Maya, Elena was no longer the strange girl at the cafe. She was family. And Daniel's protective words that day had not only silenced two bullies but had sparked a bond that changed 3 lives forever.